explain, like, who are you? What is your background? Why are you here?
Well, I've been born and raised in Lincoln all my life, so I've been here for 51 years. I just turned 51 last week. Married 30 years, well, 27, almost 28 years. So she's been in my life 30. And then I got three kids, 25, 23, or sorry, 24 and 17 now. And what brought me here? Well, so Todd's been a good friend of mine, and I have a background of graphic design.
You will have to speak a little louder so that the mic does pick it up.
So speak louder.
Or pull it closer.
Yeah.
Chances are, because I noticed when Todd did it, it was a little quieter, even when I put it to max volume.
Yeah.
Um,
So maybe it needs to be over here.
yes, actually, that's exactly what, thank you.
Um, so, so Todd was starting this business and had this business, and so I have the graphic design ability to do things well, and I'm also in the cars. So I have a '70 Thunderbird. Well, all in all, Todd needed help. I needed help, so we traded services. So he helped me show me how to build my car, and I showed him how to market his business. So we took it from one man or two man shop all the way to where it is today. And I think you guys have now, what, 10, 15 employees?
Yeah.
And you probably have, what, 30 cars you're working on right now? 80 in line, type of thing. So I asked Todd back in the day before we started this, 10 years ago, I says, were you ready for this? Because when you do build things and you make them bigger, they'll grow with you. So, and things will come. So if you don't want this, we should stop now and then go
Right.
backwards into your small shop. So they've grown to be a great business, and I think it's going to grow more because this is a 10-year anniversary, I think, this year.
2012. So it was
12,
last
yeah,
year.
sorry, 12, yeah,
Yep.
12. So 12 this year. Sorry, a couple years off. But I've done it with Todd for 10. So, but what got me here today is just pushing yourself along and making yourself better every day. You know, um, you always have to you always have to let go of some friends that you thought you were friends for a long time, but sometimes they're just pulling you the wrong direction. And people that you surround yourself around, you have to change or adapt to either go 100% or get out. And if somebody doesn't want to help you or help you achieve the things that you want to do in life, then you're going to have to find them people that will help.
Alrighty.
So before I even was even married, I was not on the right track. I was going to college and stuff, but let's just say I like to party and have a good time. So a lot of people looked at it as a frowning thing, but that's just what I wanted to do. And then once I met my wife, things changed. Life changes. Like one of your guys here just got married and now bought a house. Them are huge changes in life. Them are stair stepping in a direction do you want to go into. And that was my goal, is to be married, have kids, have a family, and just enjoy life. So I put myself to goals in life where I needed to be and where I wanted to be. And then how I get there, either it's through work, networking, or through car building, or even car shows, or car club. I mean, it's wherever it needs to be is how I want to make the way I want it to do. So I tell my kids as they go out through life now, my son's 25, what do you want to do in life and how do you want to do it? And then the last thing is how much is it going to cost? Because you surely want to align what you love to do, what you want to do, with what type or what business or what type of work or industry you're going to get into to make that happen.
And what's ideally something that comes natural. I think the Japanese have this thing called the ikigai. I believe that's what it's called. And it's like, what comes naturally? What do you enjoy doing? What are your strengths? What do you want to do to give to the world? And then sort of the best career is something that connects all those points.
Yeah, so like me, for instance, I work at Allo. That's my full-time job. I love my job. It's not really a job. It's because I love to do it. Everybody thinks I don't work. Well, I do work. They just don't see how well I work.
That's very true.
So,
Yeah.
and so I really just own it, and I have passion, and I love it. Same thing with cars. I love cars. I love to build cars. I love to tear them down. I like to rebuild them, come up with cool ideas. So that's the type of thing. If that's what you want to do, you have to find the right people in place to do that. And that's how I met Todd and his brother Gary and his brother Dennis and the whole crew, Shelby and all of them. So, but as life, of course, changes and adapts, you either have to adapt it, and there might be some people that you just don't need anymore in life. Like before I came over here, I got a call. I ran out this shop to where I built my car out, and he said he's going to tear it down. So what do you do?
What do you do? What are you gonna do?
Well, I made a few code calls before I got here, and it's just I'm going to pull out and change my life up, get rid of stuff, so I don't need things. So, as I progress, things will change, and opportunities might come across to where I've been spending money over here at this shop. Maybe I can invest it over here at this place and have a place where I need to do what I need to do. So opportunity lies wherever you want it, but if you never ask, you'll never receive it. So I'm very Christian focused, very oriented in God, and Jesus is my Savior. The biggest thing is I'm not religious by any means, but I have a relationship with Jesus. So that's it. It doesn't matter that I don't go to church. I used to go to church for 22 years, but it's what I do each day and how I do it. You provide, you give back, you serve, you help. There's people in life that will never help anybody. They'll just live on life all by themselves or, for them. But when you go the other route and you start helping people, God will provide through Jesus and give you what you want and what you need and the things you don't want.
That too. So you really tapped into something. I notice I'm at a young age, and there's probably a lot of other people that, experience young age. Imagine that. There's a point where I've experienced where you believe that you have a service that you can provide. Mm-hmm. For you, it seems like sales, marketing, stuff like that. There is also an initial, sometimes you have to give before you get, and you have to provide value before you get paid for value. What is that? How do you play that dance?
So there's a lot of sacrifice. So if you're if you want something bad enough, you're gonna get it. Okay, no matter what. It might take a couple of years. It might take longer than expected. But if you help initiate, or even get help. So there's actually a lot of places that maybe I can help you out, like the Bay. There's a couple places that I can help you out in parts to where that the things that you need and you need to do to be successful and what you want to do is they will provide that as a free service to you. So you can go there and do this. So
and try it and experience it. And at what point do you decide, like, okay, you've got enough value?
That would be after the personal. What is enough? What is enough? So like for me, it's like, what is enough? It's not about money. It's really about just taking care of everyone else. My wife gets upset about me sometimes because I do that, and I do more of that than do for myself. So, I belong to the Chamber of Commerce as ambassador. I belong to Rotary Club 14, which I'm actually sergeant at arms, so I donate. And the thing I do love about Rotary is it's service above self. That's their motto. And so you're not out there to get anything from them. You're actually out to give something, give away your experiences, your ability to help, so in any way. Or if you're rich enough, give money. So if you need, so there's a lot of things that you can play in part. Now with Allo, working for Allo is a great company. I didn't get there just by jumping in feet first, it took many years, but they called me and offered me the job. I didn't ask them for the job. So
how'd they find you? How'd they know?
So it's kind of crazy, but about 20 years ago, if not that, I worked for Windstream, which is a competitor, and they weren't called Windstream at the time, but I got hired over there. Actually, I took it it was actually from a friend that said, hey, come work for us. And so I went over there and worked. Well, my boss that was with me got reassigned and then no longer had a job. So she had left, and I was working for like 3 years. Well, then I left. I was there for 10 years. She was there for like 24 years. And so when I left, I went to a couple other places, and then Allo came aboard into Lincoln, and she went to go work for them. and then she called me. So she knew that she wanted me to come work for them. So, and I didn't even know who Allo was at the time. Now it's almost 9 years later, you know, and everybody knows who Allo is. It's a fiber company that provides voice, internet, and data services, IT services, a whole shebang.
So it's not just Wi-Fi?
No, that's a small portion of our business. For residential, you would think Wi-Fi or for your home, but for businesses like Todd's business here for Muscle Car Concepts, I mean he has his phones with us, so he does Wi-Fi. So he has all of the services he needs to make sure that this place runs and that he can,
Cameras, everything's all tied.
Everything runs through the internet and then his voice. So yeah, so. I mean, it's come a long ways for Todd because at one point in time, I worked up a deal where he got free phone and internet. And it wasn't from Allo because we are a profit company. But yeah, so it's been a long journey. It's been fun, crazy. There's a lot more to come. So
what about getting started? I mean, there's so many people, like you seem very entrepreneur, I'm just going to believe in this thing and go for it. What was that? I mean, there's so many struggles that come up with that. You're the one who has to handle all these issues when they come up. There's usually no one to outsource it to.
Yeah.
You have to kind of trial by error.
Yeah, it wasn't easy starting. I mean, of course, I made some sacrifices. Money was a big one that you sacrifice. Two is family. You sacrifice family by trying to make money. So I've done all that. So I mean, I've been to where I had to travel 6 months out of the year, been home 12 days. So and my family was I had 2 kids at the time, and they were 2 and 3. So
that's an important time. That's a hard.
Strong wife. Very, very supportive of my career. So, but to go to kids these days, the goal is this: get a good education. No matter if it's going to school or working with somebody to help you mentor you.
Mentorship is huge. If you're not going to school, find someone that'll teach you.
And then get a job that is meaningful and that it'll help you get along the way because, like you, Gage, you're not going to be here at this shop forever. You might be here 2, 3 years, 10 years, and whatever it may be. But you might get into an industry where they pay for tuition. You don't have to go to school to be smart. You just have structure to get there. Okay, so just like this, for to go on my path in religion, and which. And have the relationship with Jesus. I mean, it took me 22 years at one church. I'm sitting at the pew 15 years ago. Pastor's talking, and I'm like, how does he know it was 2,000 years ago? So that didn't dawn on me that before Christ and after death. Well, I didn't even know what that meant. So he had a sermon then that talked about what it meant. And so 2024 years ago, Jesus died for our sins. So that was after death. So that's when our AD. That's when our years started, is what we are today at 2024. That blew my mind. I did not even realize that. What happened before that was a complete mess, and everybody lived forever and all that stuff. But so coming to that point and figuring that out, it's just like life, right? How you figure out life is you got to come to a bottom line or somewhere to where it makes you comfortable, to where you can navigate where you want to go. And it's either through mentorship, maybe it's a coach, maybe you have a health coach, or maybe you have a coach, maybe it might be a football coach or a volleyball coach. It could be your race car instructor. It could be your instructor in your finance at college or even in high school. Whoever it is that really wants to believe in you, that can take you somewhere and make you great, that's the ones that you should really hone around at time in life to where it's going to make you grow as an individual, as a person, and make you a better person in life. And I look at everybody. Everybody's human, right? Everybody has their own lives. Everybody has their own stories. Everybody has the world to tell. Or maybe you don't, and you want to start one. But when I talk to people, I always joke around, and then they say, "How's your day?" I said, "If I told you how my day was, you probably would either run out the door or ignore me."
Why?
Because it's about me. I don't care. I want to talk about you. I'm important. Why? I said, "How's your day?" Not "How's my day."
But isn't that, to get deep, isn't that some of what you're trying to improve, is not just giving to everyone else, but also making sure that you are giving to yourself?
Yeah, so, but when you're talking to somebody like at a grocery store, you're at the
That's a little
checkout line,
different.
or
Yeah,
if you're at
sure.
the, if you're, but everybody's somebody, right?
Yeah,
Everybody's human, no
totally.
matter where you're at. That person's not going to be there forever. Their goal in life is not to be a cashier at the grocery store forever. That's just to make ends meet until they get the life they really want, you know? So, trust me, I've been everything besides anything in restaurant I did not do but wash dishes, but everything else I've done, from changing your oil to paper boy to, oh God, you name it. You name any job out there, construction to
Seriously, you just
digging
give him a
ditches,
task, he'll just finish it.
bartending. You know, you just name it. So it, and the thing is this is, I can tell you one thing, and this is one piece of advice I tell you, is do what you say you're gonna do, no matter what. What I mean by that is this: if you're gonna tell somebody you're gonna call them today or tonight or whatever, and you get busy and you don't call that person, that makes you look like what?
Not accountable.
Yeah. So do you think that person's gonna put you on their speed dial list to call you when they need you? No. Do you think when they call you, or when you call them and you need something, do you think they're gonna answer on the first call? Not, not at all.
So be reliable, be someone accountable, and someone that people can, want to be around and won't
Rely
be
on, yeah. So
betrayed.
like for me, if I reach out to somebody, anybody that's on my phone, 9 times out of 10 they're gonna answer the call because they know that I need something or I have something for them, and they're gonna answer the phone. And usually, if they don't answer the phone, is because they're in a meeting like this, and I can guarantee you, when they leave that meeting, they will call. So
So how'd you do that?
just take care of people. Just take care of people.
That's not easy.
It's not, but sometimes you have to make a sacrifice to take care of people, no matter what you do. So, like for instance, if somebody was like at my work and they're saying, "Hey, I'm looking for a car. What kind of car are you looking for? What do you want to spend?" All right, 1 second. So I call my buddy up. That's a car dealership, and I say, "Hey, do you have something in this form or shape or what?" And they're like, "Well, let me find out." So then they give it to him, and they say, "Cool. Now guess what? The one I got the car for loves me. He's gonna take care of me, whatever I need, and what he's gonna do." So it's a pay it forward type of thing, you know. For instance, oh gosh, I ran into one of my old friends at Sam's Club, and she's a church friend, you know. She went to 3 different stores and couldn't figure out she needed to change her or the watch band on her watch to another watch. Well, nobody does it. There's nobody that does that. So I said, just give me the watch. So while we were talking, I just changed it for her right there in the middle of Sam's Club, you know. Well, that little bit took that so far, she couldn't believe, she started crying because she couldn't believe that I did it in 5 minutes, but she took all day to try to do. So little things like that in life will achieve things in greater greatness of serving other people besides yourself.
I love that.
So
How do you do that when you're getting started though? So like for example, no money, you're starting over, zero, and you have to make ends meet.
right.
How do you just, because right now you're in a spot where it's like it'll come. I can give, and
Yeah,
and what'll follow
I pray a
will.
lot, so I do pray a lot. I don't pray enough, which we talked about earlier before the podcast. But what I would tell you is do what it takes to make your ends meet, no matter what, because you have to live somewhere. At one point in time, I was doing 3 jobs, 18 hours a day. I was a milkman in the morning from 5 to 8, from 8:30 to 5:30. I was a graphic design artist, and then from 7 to 1 o'clock in the morning, 2 o'clock in the morning, I was a bartender. I did that 3 days a week, but I did the other 2 jobs 5 days a week. So I was a milkman and a graphic designer 5 days a week. But the biggest thing is person asked me, "Why do you work so much?" It's because I want these things. I want things. Okay, I
Right.
want to do things, so I'm going to work to get it. For one, I have to live. Two, I wanted a new truck to drive. I want nothing broken down. I wanted a hot rod. I had my T-bird I was going to try to work on. This is when I was 23 years old, and I was getting married. So I wanted these things. It was so bad that I had so many nice things that the police were trying to investigate me and think I was a drug dealer. And I laughed because
That's a good feeling.
then my wife's like, and I don't know if they're false people or what, but they came knocking on the door, and she goes, "He's a very busy guy. You're going to have to make an appointment to these investigators." So I called down the police the next day, and I was like, "What do you guys want with me?" And they're like, "Well, we don't have any records." So I don't know. Ever since then, nothing ever happened. So, but it's really funny that. But I would say this is to achieve greatness, you have to work really hard, and if it makes to take 1 to 2, 3, 4 jobs to get there, because you're going to meet people along the way in them jobs that are going to help you influence you to get you further. Either influence you that you don't want to be like, or
Right.
influence you that maybe this guy is an older guy or person. It could be a lady. Is just living through life, gliding by because they're done. They're done. They've had whatever they wanted. They've got whatever they needed. They've been pleased. Now they're just riding the wave to just live. And they might be working at Super Saver
Right.
as a or a greeter at Walmart. It might not be whatever it might be. As they're doing it to get out of the house to do something because everything they've done in life is already done. Because
It's a
as you get
very
to a
deep
certain
idea.
age, as you get to a certain age, I'm 51, right? As you get to a certain age, you're not going to, if I'm 71 years old, I'm not going to be racing around driving in a car to car shows like I do today. I mean, I'll still do it, but probably not 30 of them, in a month, and then in the summer. That's what I did last year. I did 30 car shows in the summer. But what I mean by that, or even race car driving or playing football or whatever, you're just not going to be able to do them things. Or even travel. Say that you want to travel. Say that you have a good retirement. You're retired at age 65 or whatever. Hopefully it's 55. And you travel and you want to travel to wherever. When you get older, you're not going to be able to do as much because you can't move as fast. You can't get there, And I hope to this day that I am the same way I am at 71.
Right.
But
Huh. I have so many questions. I mean, you just go in depth into everything. I mean, how do you find what you want to do? You're 18 years old. You don't know what you want to do or what route to take. How do you discover that?
well, so that's where you got to start building. Okay, so do you have any dreams? What dreams do you have?
What if you're unaware of all that stuff? Like, where do you start? There's so
Well,
many people that are in that spot.
So first things first is you have to have goals. Okay, the goals, they might be unachievable. You might want to be Elon Musk when you grow up. You might want to be whoever the guy is at Amazon. What's that guy's name? Whatever his name is.
Yep.
But that could be a dream. Okay, say you want to be this rich asshole out there. Pardon my French, but that might be your dream. That might be your goal. So dream that, and then have goals to get there. So, like for instance, hey, say in order for me to get there, I'm gonna have to go to school for business. So go to school for business.
Well, what about this? Okay, I have goal A to B. I want the Bugatti, right?
Mm-hmm.
I could be an accountant, I could be a lawyer, I could be a fisher, I could be all these things. How do I know that? How do I figure out, like, I'm gonna go to school for 4 years for this thing, and then I'm gonna spend 2 years in an internship. How do you not lose time of your life doing something that you realize later on isn't what you wanted to do?
Well, I wouldn't think of it losing. I would think of
Fair.
gaining. Okay, so
Fair.
what I would think it is life. You're gonna have your ups and you're gonna have your downs, no matter what you do in life. But the real key factor is what do you want to do? What if you can find out what you love to do, and it could be as simple as I don't know, playing pickleball. I mean, that's a big thing. It could be, and that's something you love to do. But the thing is, sometimes you're just gonna have to sacrifice things to get what you want to get there. And you might not like the job that you're in and stuff, and it might just be a job. It's not going to be your career.
Mind me, can I hit this real quick?
Yeah.
Yoink.
What happened? Died?
No, it wasn't on.
What?
It's
The whole
alright.
entire time? What?
It is what it is. It'll pick up the audio, it just won't be as clear. It's just part of the learning. I mean, you are a podcast in so many different topics. I'd love for obviously to just keep coming on.
Yeah.
But yeah, keep going. I mean, young age, don't know what to do. You're just saying go after it, make a goal.
Yeah, I mean, just do what you want to do. And find out for once, figure something out, okay? And if you can't figure it out, maybe just start going to social functions as church. Find a church, maybe find a social group, maybe find, like the Bay. I don't know if you guys heard of the Bay, but the Bay have amazing things going on right now. And if you're only 18 years old, they got this thing that's called Gap Year there, which is awesome. So you go to Gap Year, and it's a 2-year program there, and you can utilize all their stuff, including podcast stuff. They got stuff and they work with you to grow to where get you launched and catapulted to to you what you want a career. There's one guy down there, gentleman. He's been there for a long time. I think he's probably he went to school through the Bay and all this stuff, because the Bay actually has learning through LPS, like the public schools. But what happens, the gap year means, what is a gap year? It means the year that you take away from high school to college. So that's the gap year, the missed year. So that's why they call it the GAP program. And you have to be selected to get in this program. But it helps you get focused on what you want to do. So this gentleman there, he is a huge, what do you call it, social media guy. That's his lifestyle. He's got like 1.7 million followers, type of thing like that. So that's what he wants to do right now. And that's where he's probably going to make a lot of money of all these followers. So then what he can do is invest that money. So when he gets to an age where they don't want to follow him anymore because he's a little older, he isn't as funny, or maybe something, and then maybe he can launch his career as a comedian or something, or launch his career doing something different in
Once
life.
you have a following, dude, you can disappear and come back, and you always have a source to...
Right, so, but that's what he does. And there's another person there, a gentleman, and he played guitar, very good singer, but never got into really... He started a gap year, and they influenced him to start a band. Now he's in 2 bands. And he plays at all these hot spots in Lincoln and different shows. And he's only like 19 years old. Can't even drink alcohol. So if that might be something to look into as a program like that, there's a lot of social functions you can get into in and around your town or city or wherever you live. It's just that you have to take yourself and engage yourself and to get out. And I know it's tough, and it'll feel uncomfortable at first, trust me.
Very.
It does when you first walk in a room of 200 people and you don't know anybody. The goal in my life is to know everybody in that room, and to when the next time I go into a room like that of 200 people, they turn and they look and they know who I am and they know what I do. That's my goal. So, and that's in any type of thing. So, and trust me, I have people that probably love me to death, and I probably have people that hate me, but they just don't know me. That's why they hate me. Because some people look and judge by the book, by your book, not by the cover.
Yeah,
but
totally.
they don't see what's inside, nor do they care.
Yeah, totally.
So and so that's something too, is never ever judge anybody, because especially in the car industry that I love and Gage loves here, you can go to the most biggest car show ever. It could be the biggest one in your town. It could be
SEMA.
Whatever, like I'm going next week. But you can go there, right? And you might be talking to a guy that looks like a homeless guy, right? And you're just having a conversation. Well, you find out that guy is the president of the largest corporation in America, and he dresses that way because he feels comfortable. And that car that's sitting right over there, which is a Bugatti, is his, and it's in SEMA. And the only reason why he's here is because that company, Muscle Car Concept, built that car for him, and it's in SEMA. So don't judge a book by its cover, because you never know what's inside.
And typically you'll find that it's the things that they experience that cause them to be that way. And once you see the context that made them in the way that they are, or gave them that perspective, you're like, well, yeah, if I experienced that and I learned that perspective in that situation, then I too would react the same way. And it's typically just a byproduct of what you experience. I'm curious what you think. So how I found my passions and like doing, the way I saw it was like, I don't want to waste life. I want to spend every minute doing something I care about. Is I don't recommend it for everyone. It was definitely a bold, pretty extreme way to figure it out. But I was like, I'm just going to sit in my room and not do a single thing unless it's something I want to do. And so I spent a year not working and slowly just realizing like, okay, music, okay, cars, okay, outside, okay, God. And just spent, okay, I need to spend more time doing these things. And what happened for me was eventually my skills, because I spent so much time doing them, developed, that opportunities arose from only doing the things I was interested in. And then it kind of snowballed. It was like, okay, I like social media, I like cars, here I am.
Yeah, you have to have somebody that believes in you too, and what your future and your what do you call it? Your vision. Your vision and where things can be. Because I can tell you right now, everything's possible with God, no matter what. If you believe in him and you come down to it and you forgive and you let and repent, I guarantee you, anybody that's listening to this podcast, great things will come to you if you follow him. Great things.
So what's a life look like with God and without God? Because I feel like we've all...
Well, I've
a
been
lot of
on
people
both sides.
yeah.
So without God, it's very dark, lonely, scary.
But you don't notice it at the time.
No, you think it's fine. But the biggest thing is when you have weird people, weird individuals come up to you at the weird times. You have bad dreams.
Right.
Bad dreams. You think your thoughts are bad. You get angry all the time, you know, or maybe the other way. You just shut up and don't say anything. And you just float in life. You don't really know where to go. You don't have a meaning or purpose in doing.
You can't see. It's kind of like going in blind.
Yeah, and you can't vision. It's like you're just floating in life, and that nothing really matters, and then that it doesn't matter, and you feel lonely that you don't matter. With God, with Jesus, you feel everything, and you really feel like you're invincible because you're everybody's instilled with God in your life. It's just that you accept it or not.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you're born and raised. I mean, seriously, we are all cousins.
So you talk about this. You keep going here. Yeah. Why is this significant? Because everyone that talks about God instantly just does this.
It's because that's where it's at. This is like this is your heart. It's not even really your heart. It's your conscience.
You feel it.
Yeah.
You feel. It's like love. It speaks like your brain.
Yeah, you feel the love. So I would encourage everybody. It's very hard to do, to go and experience it. Just go to any church.
Okay, but what about the people that go to church and don't experience that? Because there's equally as many.
Well, there's that too. And then there's other people that do actually go to church and even preach at churches that do lie. And we're all sinners, okay? That's what the whole thing is what a sinner is somebody that says something or thinks something, feels something, knows something, but doesn't tell it and doesn't give it away or tell anybody about it and keeps it inside.
What?
When you're with Jesus, you forgive your sins. You pray about it. You say, hey, I've done this. You acknowledge that you're bad. You acknowledge that you think these bad things. I don't know if it's looking at women or if looking at guys or, or if it's thinking about bad things in life or even just bad words, cussing, or even thoughts like you're driving down the road, somebody pulls you off, and instantly you get mad and you want to cuss him out or ram in the back of his car or something.
That's a thought yeah.
That's a sin. That's a negative thought that you don't want to do. When you pray, you repent. You give that away. You let Jesus worry about your sins. That's why Jesus died on the cross, is for our sins. So you give that to him. You let him worry about the stuff. You don't have to worry about anything. And be careful when you pray, because you pray for the good things, not the bad things. Be careful what you pray for, because things could flourish and come out to you at 100%, 100 million miles an hour. And then you have to decide that God's really giving you all this. This is called opportunity in life. But you have to figure out how to make it. So,
and sometimes you will get what you ask for. And so when you're upset and you're in those emotional states, like, be aware, be conscious, because it
will come. Because like I'm at the point in life now to where I can just drive by a building and say I need to contact, and then they'll call me within 15, 20 minutes. I didn't call them. So that's the life.
Is that word of mouth or is that God?
That's God.
That's beautiful.
So I have a personal relationship with Jesus, and I talk to him. And people get mad at me because I don't go to church all the time. I used to go all the time, but I don't have to because I talk to Jesus.
And you're walking with him, and he walks with you, and so you're where you need to be when you need to be.
Now, don't get me wrong. I do bad things. I drink. I smoke sometimes. When I drink, them are bad things.
Why?
But they aren't bad things, because if you forgive yourself of what you're doing in life, and you acknowledge it, and how is it bad? Now, to your body, it's another thing. That's a whole other camel.
That's fair.
Okay, body's just a vessel in life. Okay, God is the eternity of life. So, like this, I'll say this right now. When I call one of my buddies that are in my shop with me, and I told him, I said, all things in life do not last, but love. And that's what I told him. And then I told them that we're not going to have the shop anymore.
That's a good follow-up.
So, because I was trying to get him to a part that, you know, I wanted to let him know that things are going to be gone. Nothing lasts forever.
It's going to be okay.
Yeah, it's going to be okay. So,
So
what do? You can't change that.
you mentioned a really interesting idea with the alcohol and the smoking stuff.
And that's cigarettes, by the way.
Yep. So, but how does that work where you don't, it's not like how does that work? You don't want to, it's not that you're guilty doing it, because I feel like there's an element of like, in the Bible it does say, drink and be happy and celebrate and do those things. Where is that balance, and where is that, is it an unhealthy relationship with the substance, or is it, where do you miss the mark?
I think, and I feel and I believe, and this is what I believe, is that you can have fun with anything you do in life. It's just you have to have control. Once it starts coming out of control, you start drinking more, you're smoking, or maybe it's watching pornographic stuff. Maybe it's, having sex.
Sure.
Maybe it's, working too much. Like you're at work all the time and forgetting your family at home. There's the control that you don't have. Like for me right now, I have a problem because I give too much that I don't give to myself. And I was told by my doctor today that I need to give at least a half hour back to myself.
And that's what he was suggesting with the praying?
My doctor suggested that I pray for a half hour a day before I start my day. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to start that actually tomorrow. I'm going to start.
Why not?
Why not? I mean, what do I got to lose? I might have a better life.
That's maybe. True. I feel like, you can always, that's part of life, trying new things. So if you're unhappy in life, try something different. Make a radical change, because guess what? You can always go back.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and then once you find out that the radical change works, then you're going to make things better. So it's like this. Where I work at Allo, we're very technology, it's communications. It's pretty much a stressful job. But the stress that I have and that somebody else would have that would just start are two different levels of stress, right? Think about this. So I'm up here in stress, right? But my stress level for them, they're like up here, right? But my stress level, I can take the stress that they have, but I've already been accustomed to it, used to it, know how to handle it, how to manage it. That's like anything like. So what happens when you make change and cultural shift or change in your lifestyle, it's going to be stressful at first. It's going to be hard, and you're going to want to quit. That's the thing is, don't give up. Do it. Just like Nike says, just do it. Because if you don't do it, this is what I tell everybody. If you don't do it, Gage, somebody else is going to do it for you, and you're going to miss the opportunity.
So God seems to be a pretty huge aspect of your life. You seem to give. I was doing some research. You're, in some nonprofits.
If you Google me, Todd Francisco, I'm all over the board.
I did. I have a few things I was going to ask you about. I noticed one of the things you said, you mentioned some turning points in your life that were very significant.
Yeah.
What were those?
Well, I don't know. We can go back to when we were having kids and stuff. My wife and I used to have a lot of fun, go to a lot of concerts and stuff, and it was just me and her having fun. And it got to too much fun, and I think God put our children in place, which we call them blessings, at the moment pivot in our time to make us change and reroute. So we rerouted and just my wife and I 3 times when 3 kids were born. So every single one was a blessing that changed our shift on that ship. That ship was sailing this way, and we went 90 degrees the other way. So.
What does that feel like when you hit one of those moments where you realize my life is completely different?
Yeah.
What is that? Is that?
Well, so it's cultural. It's really a life-changing moment that's a shock, because not only that you have to change maybe the things that you're doing, but the people that are around you, and the habits. Like for instance, we used to go to the bar all the time and hang out and get drunk, all that stuff. Well, the first child came and says, "Well, this ain't gonna happen." So we had to shift. So I quit my bartending job, started a family, bought a house. We just totally, that was a rapid shift.
Huge, yeah.
So a huge shift in that. So that's the thing too, is God gives you opportunities and throughout life all the time, every day. Billboards, signs, TV.
He speaks to you through that. Yeah.
And that's how he speaks to you. He doesn't speak to you like, "Oh, Gage, you're doing good today."
Yeah,
it don't work
seriously.
that way. Okay, he will give you signs without saying.
Right.
That's
It'll be
the
a
thing.
song lyric that just weirdly caught
Or
you.
it
in
could
a
be
few-
the same song lyric, the same time every day, and you don't realize it. You just think it's a cool song. So
that too. Sometimes it is interpreting the message.
yeah, or maybe it's not even the message. Maybe it's just the beat, or it could be what
What it does to you.
it does to you. So it's a lot of things. So God doesn't just Jesus does not just talk to you. He just tells you in certain ways, and you'll know when it happens. Just be careful what you pray for and how you pray about it. You can't pray for things. You can't pray for money. You can't pray for these things. You can only pray for things that help you get there, get the things you need. Now remember, in reality in life, everything is owned by God. The whole world is owned by God. So I just try to help people endure that as they go through life, like this, helping you. We're doing a podcast,
tremendously.
helping you guys out there talk about what I experienced. And so I look at it like life experiences. If I can change one person on this podcast to shift to 90 degree and change your life, heck yeah.
It's all worth it.
Yeah, it's worth it in the end, you know. So if I don't make it to the pearly gates, I tried. You know, you know, you never know if you're going to get there or not, but it is what it is. So the biggest thing in life is that I found out so far, being 51, is that you find people in life that turn to you and thank you for the time that they had with you when you were with them and how you had an impact on their life.
That is the best. I think the most rewarding feeling.
Yeah. So a lady that used to work for me when I had a party bus business, she said to me, and her name was Cecilia, and if you ever watched this, Cecilia, thank you. She said, I don't know if it was her quote or somebody else's quote, but she said that she didn't want to be rich and famous, but she wanted to be well off and well known.
I saw that message.
Yeah, it was probably in my
It was. Yep.
some of my stuff out there, but and I live by that because my goal is not to be rich and my goal is not to be famous. I never asked for any of that. But what I want people to do is when they think of me, I think happy things, and when I die, hopefully I leave a legacy that is good, and maybe my dream is to open up a museum for the blind. So when I do
What
that,
would that
hopefully,
look like? What would be in the museum?
Everything 3D, but that you can touch. And
So like a four senses experience.
because they don't have sight, but they have everything else. So they'll have their ears, they'll have their sense, smells, they'll have even their taste if they wanted to. So there's a lot of different ways that you can do it. But if I can communicate, my whole goal in life is to get blind people to realize what the sense of color is. So when they smell something, they can say that that's green apple, or they can say that is or if they smell cinnamon, they can say that resembles
That brown look.
or they can resemble red as a fire truck, or all this stuff is how we perceive the color of the sight of color. How do they perceive it in their mind, right? And my goal is to get them to be able to perceive color in their mind.
How?
Soon to be continued.
Right? I definitely feel like there's a way. I feel like all the senses come together in a similar way.
Yeah.
So you touch something, but you also get a sense of the color. I don't
All right,
know
let's
how to
talk about
describe
why
that.
do I have this vision to do
Yeah,
this.
that's very specific.
So 23 years ago, I was going to the plane for work in Oregon. And the kid that was sitting next to me was a black kid. And he was going to Oregon to be studied on because he didn't know what time of day it was. So he'd be up in the middle of the night, and so he couldn't hold a job because he would wake up in the middle of the night and then fall asleep during his job. So they were trying. He was only 18 at the time, so he does live in Lincoln somewhere here. But I sat with him for 3 hours on that plane. I just talked to him about everything. The first thing that when you talk to a blind person, you would say, "Hey, what color do you see?" Or, you can't ask somebody that's blind because how do they know what color is? That's what I asked him. And so I learned a lot from that. So back then I wanted to do this museum and build this, but we did not have the technology to do it. I had to do it out of welding wood, plastic, and or plaster of Paris and all this, and it'd be a mess and take forever. So nowadays we have 3D printing to where I can build it, design it, and I won't even build a design it. I would just say this is what I want to do, and then have somebody else create it, and then because the museum will be nonprofit, and so there's actually 2.8 million people that are blind in the world, and I want all of them to come to Lincoln, Nebraska to see my museum. So, and the first people I want to invest in this would be two. It would be Jeff Healy, which is blind, and then Stevie Wonder.
Oh, is he still alive?
Yeah.
Older, 80s?
Yeah, but I want to catch him before he passes,
Right.
because I think this would be a great experience for them to not only help support it, but give it a rocket launch so we can actually get out there and do the things that will help not only just the blind people, but help their families endure what they're actually, and maybe even help people out there that don't have the families that are blind, that have to rely on like maybe nonprofit agencies to help them get by. And this could be a way to have a blind person come work at my museum to help other blind people see the vision and try to find out how we can get the color instilled in their head so they can actually paint their own pictures.
Wow, I like the imagery you put in that.
Yeah,
So what points in life caused this to be such a big focus? Like not just the nonprofits, but the giving, the God, I know that there had to be a deep, dark, sad story. I don't expect it, but was there a...
I have a lot of stories, and they're all sad, but I don't want to reveal any of them.
That's cool.
But
there's something to be said in that okay, so everyone's got their sad story. Mm-hmm. What separates maybe where you're at and where they're at is what you did in that sad story.
Yeah.
Or how you became strong enough to say...
So the thing is if your story or your life is sad right now and you feel that, turn 180 degrees and go the other direction. If that's breaking up with your boyfriend or girlfriend or quitting your job or doing whatever the hell you're doing that you're not happy with, go the other way and do what you want to do and find out a way to do it. Now, don't leave your family.
Right.
Don't
burn bridges.
Don't do any of that, and don't hurt your family or not pay your mortgage or stuff like that. Do it in a way that makes sense, but it might take a little time. It might take 6 months. It might take a year, but have a strategy or a goal in place to get you there. And it might even be working part-time at a nonprofit radio station, KZUM, at nighttime just to get by so you can get out there and get announced. I mean, it could be, working at a bellhop at a hotel, or, that you want to be the president of that hotel, or maybe you want to travel the world and get free hotel stay. That could be a way. I don't know what you do. Because if you work for like Marriott, you get either free or discounted rates on hotels throughout the world. So there's a lot of things that people don't know that you can get with what you do, and you don't have to work full time at places either too. So
be creative.
Yeah. So I mean, it's really what you want to put. You put into life what you want to get out of it, really. And if you think it's a free ride. The only free rides that they might be out there is maybe if you served a golden spoon or silver spoon, so to speak. But they're lonely.
They are, and they're not necessarily the ideal. You want to go through it. You do.
Yeah. Well, yeah. If you have that, great. But you know what? The ones that have more impact are the ones that don't have that, because they work real hard to get there and they have more passion about what they've done and what they're doing.
And they were put through more fire.
Yeah, just like Todd here. Todd didn't own a business that has 15 employees. He was himself. And Todd is probably one of the most selfless persons ever.
Truthfully.
And he's very frugal about what he does. So, but he's very good at what he does. I mean, Todd is an excellent body man. He can look at a car and tell you exactly what's wrong with it, how much it's going to cost you to fix it, as long as it's good underneath.
Right.
Because it's like a car with life, right? If somebody comes in here with a car that looks all fancy new, it's rebuilt, bought just from the auction, from Barrett Jackson, looks great, spent $60,000 for this Chevelle. Okay, let's just say it's a Chevelle. It could be a Mustang, doesn't matter. And they say, well, this is really nice, but we're going to have to look at it, and we're not even going to put an estimate down because we don't know what's underneath the paint. right? So it's just like life, right? You're looking at it, looks all the person that you loved and you adored forever. You thought he was the greatest person ever, but then all of a sudden you started digging into the sandblast it and getting down to the bare metal, and there's no metal there. There's not even a soul left. You know, I mean, look at some of the artists that are out there that you would never even fathom to think of somebody would actually even do that. You know, like I'm not naming names and stuff, but there's some big news out there that people are crazy and they're doing stuff that is not even fathomed that you would even think of doing. It's the same thing with a car. You know, you look at it and it's like all of a sudden you tear it all down. All of a sudden there's nothing left. You got to rebuild the whole structure, and it went from like maybe a $40,000 bill to $150,000 bill.
Plus, easily, yeah.
Yeah. So, but the same thing is, are you going to spend that money to fix that car and invest in that car because you think it's going to be the greatest thing in life in the future for you? It's the same thing with your life. Are you going to invest your life and sacrifices to get what you need, what you want, or what you can do to help others? So, it's a gamble, man.
So little Francisco, you remember that little feller, right?
Yeah.
What would he think of you now?
Probably think I'm crazy.
Why?
Because I am.
A little bit.
I just I don't know. Probably thinking I should have played saxophone still.
Wow.
Never
too late.
Or actor.
Wow. That was your goals?
Remember some of my big goals? Yeah, actor. I want to be the best saxophone player out there. Kenny G. Rock star. Stuff like that. But I tell you what, if you want to be really good at something, try selling some product to somebody that doesn't want to buy it.
Oh my God. Yeah, everything from that point forward will get easier. For me, it was selling Cutco during COVID.
I bought Cutco.
They're a good company, but it was like an hour-long presentation, and we have to do it over Zoom, and everyone's COVID, so nobody had money. So it was like, I'm learning to sell knives to people who don't want them, and getting them to sit on an hour presentation who don't even want to be there for 5 minutes. And you'll get a lot of no's, a lot of I don't want to do this, a lot of uncomfortable customers, but you become someone that people want to come to for products.
Yeah,
or
so
for
like
services.
for instance, I sell for Allo, the business sales, and I sell based on emotion. I do not sell the product based on, the product is good no matter what. This team that we have is amazing that stands behind me. But all in all, to get that customer to buy that product or services that we have, I sell on emotion. And the other competitors help me do that. I mean, they help me do that. If your internet at home doesn't work tonight when you go home, and you have Spectrum, right? I'm sure you do, right?
I have Allo.
Now you have Allo, but before you had Spectrum, right? And you'd come home at night, right? And it didn't work, right? How would that make you feel when you have to get this podcast out there and launch it and all that stuff? Okay, so now it puts you behind, right? So now what do you have to do? You have to call them, right? To say, hey, I need this fixed, correct? And you're on the phone for 45 minutes before you can talk to one person. How did that make you feel?
Like I'm wasting my time. I shouldn't be going through this.
And so what I would tell you, Gage, today is, why do you want to keep wasting your time with that? Because of the money you're spending. If you spend $20 more a month, I can guarantee you won't have to call us. And if you do have to call us, we're going to pick up the phone and make sure we take care of you right away. We're not going to put you on hold. We might put you on hold, but we're not going to leave you there for 45 minutes.
Yeah.
So what I mean is it's based on emotion. Like if I was a car salesman and a couple come in and they wanted to buy a car, but they wanted to buy this fancy, expensive car, I'll sell them that fancy, expensive car. But I'm going to make sure I find out really what they really want.
Find their needs before you try to sell them anything.
Yeah, and then get to them where they really want. I mean, I'd love to sell them an expensive car, but I don't want it to come back in 3 days either.
Okay, so what about when you come across someone who's like, you're hit with objections, you work through the objections, and it's to the point where it's like, I found what you need, you've already explained that you want it, let's buy it. And they're like, they hit that, I don't know.
So then that's why, okay, so then that's when you bring about what they came in for in the first place. Okay, remember, they came to see you, right? They called you on the phone. They came in. The guy got them in here to get their car worked on. Right? There's interest. He's wanting something, but is he going to pick you? That's one. Two is as you find the emotion part where he was burned somewhere or whatever, or maybe they went to somewhere else and they told you that when they were in the interview, I call it, with you about this. So you bring that stuff back up. You have to reiterate back into they call it closing. You're closing the sale. So before they leave, they're either signing on the dotted line or they gave me 3 of their best friends for referral.
I like the referral part.
Yeah,
that helps a lot.
Yeah, and so and you always should ask for a referral. But remember this: if you're selling for your pocketbook, this is my pocketbook now. If you're selling for this, you're in the wrong field. You shouldn't sell anymore, because this will always come if you take care of the person.
Truthfully, yeah.
And I'm telling you for a fact, I have 1,000 customers that will buy even if I wasn't at Allo, if I was at another company. I have customers I brought over and I've resold them services.
So how does that work? Is that just relationships?
Yeah, it's building relationships and trust. You know, when they call me and they have an issue or a problem, I'm there to help them.
He does.
I answer the phone. If I'm not going to answer the phone right away, at least I'm going to call you right back. And you know that, Gage.
He does, yeah.
You know, I'm always there.
Professional,
so,
yeah.
And that's just being there. So that's what people love, is they know that they can call me and make sure that they get taken care of.
So you over-deliver on the customer experience.
I don't over-deliver, I just deliver. My deliver is different than your deliver because you might just be a little lazier than me.
Well, I say over-deliver because they might not expect that. Like, that's what they want, but that's hard to get. So in some ways,
and that is a thing too. And I just do what I do. So this is how I look at life. I do what I do for people because that's what I would personally want done to me. And so that's why I look at it. So like if I go to the store, okay, I could be pissed off. I just left a prospect. He told me no. It was a big deal. You know, I'm upset. You know, I'm going to be upset. But when I go to that grocery store or whatever, or go to that restaurant, I have to change my hat. I can't act upset and pissed off there, right? So it's the same thing you do in life. The sale, it might not be the right sale. It's just not the right time for that prospect to be your customer.
Wow. So don't lose the future sale either.
Don't screw it up.
Right.
Just be cordial and back out of it.
Wow.
Thank them for their time. They'll be back. And sometimes it might be the next couple of weeks later.
That's what Planet Fitness does. They make the exit very easy. And
because they want you to come back.
Yes. Yep.
They want you to come back anytime. They don't want you to be pissed off at the world. I can tell you, like you brought up fitness, Gold's Gym was a huge one in Lincoln, a big workout place. They lost that. They lost that customer service and it was prior to Gold's Gym. It was some other gym. And they just had a great attitude.
Atmosphere.
Oh, yeah. They loved you no matter what. And when they sold out, they lost that. And that's what happens to a lot of businesses in town. They sell out. The passion's not there. The character is really where it's at. And that's what Tom Osborne was about when he coached football, is character. And this is how you know who character is what. If I drop my wallet outside a grocery store parking lot, and I'm sorry I use grocery stores, that's just but it's kind of commonality for everybody. I drop my wallet and I go home, the one that picks it up and brings it into the store or calls you somehow, that's a good person with great character. The person that doesn't have it is the one that picks it up, pulls the money out, and throws it in the dumpster or the garbage. That's where somebody doesn't have good character. Okay, we'll do a simple one. This is a simple one. Somebody who doesn't have good character or good judgment is the one that leaves a grocery cart in the middle of in the next door parking space that you're at, instead of pushing it up to the
where
cart
it goes.
corral. Yeah, where the cart corral. That's character. Good character, somebody will push it out of the way and put it where it needs to go. Bad character, they'll just leave it there.
So how do you keep improving?
You just keep doing better every day. You see people do the wrong thing, and I wouldn't interrupt their day. It's not my fault that they weren't raised that way or they live that way. But my thing is to instill good character on maybe their kids. Maybe their kids see me putting the cart back, and they look at their parents and not put the cart back. So every day I improve, and then I see things, and then I just do what I do. Like, for instance, I was in a grocery store, Walmart, and this guy was yelling at his son for something stupid, and he was not from this country, he was from the other country. And I turned to him, I said, "Stop it. This is not the place for that. Take it home." And he shut up. You know why? Because he didn't see me see him. And when I said something, he saw that he was in the store doing this to his kid. So how do you think he does it at home? So I put him in his place, and he stopped yelling. He started talking to his kid, and then they walked away. So is it my place to say that? I don't know.
Yeah,
but
it's a
I
tough
did.
one.
But I did.
But I respect it. I mean,
But I did.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I didn't want to see that. You want to see somebody yelling at the top of the lungs at the kids in the middle of a store?
No.
I don't want to see that. And if my kids were there, I would not even want them to see that.
So lead by example?
Or craziness. That's why I talked about the crazy side of me.
He'll let you know how he feels. I know that.
Well, sometimes it can unleash. You never know what's out there.
Yeah.
With the violence that we have today, I don't know. And then
that is true. Yeah.
He could be carrying. But that's why God's on my side.
Amen.
So
if I'm gonna go in a glory.
Yeah. So
that's what I think.
Hopefully, this election this next week's good. I mean, I already voted yesterday, so we'll see. And I was doing a pre-election because I'll be out of town next week, but there was a long line there. So
for local or presidential?
All of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
That all happens in one spot?
No, because you have districts that you vote in, and that district is because where you live. But I'm not going to be out of town, so there's a place in town here you can go. It's just by the DMV on 48th and Vine. Just south of there, it's called the electoral whatever place. I don't know. Never even knew existed until somebody told me yesterday about it. So I went there, and there was probably 100 people in line to get in there to vote. And so what it does is they take your district. When you go in there and say, "Hey, I'm this," they actually put it in the computer, and then they print out your district right there for you. So it's everybody in your district you need to vote on. Presidential,
okay,
sure. School district, whatever one you're in, and judges and all that kind of stuff. So,
okay, so, at this point I know a little bit more about the presidential side of things. I feel like I could make my own educated vote. But what about when I get in there and it's like, who are all these people I know nothing about? Do I have to select
You
one?
don't have to vote on them.
So that was our podcast with Todd Francisco, right? I understand that the video ended abruptly. Tough luck. The camera died. Is what it is. He's around the shop often. We'll get more, content with him in the future. That was just more or less a trial experience, right? Let's see what it's like getting a new guest on. Let's see what it's like and work out the kinks. Camera died. Next time we'll be more professional, more prepared. It's a work in progress, right? That was an amazing episode. Obviously, if you've made it this far and you actually watched it all, you have your own comments. Leave them in the comment section because we need and would love to hear what you actually think after watching that. What were your takeaways? What'd you gain? What'd you not like? What'd you like? Obviously, there's a cord in the way. I'm editing right now, so I'm able to see all the little things here and there. Like I said, that was Todd Francisco. More content and more podcasts with him in the future. He is a businessman, entrepreneur, very successful, intelligent young man who emphasizes the importance of relationships, and he does a great job of maintaining those. So that will be the end of this podcast. If you guys would like to see more or want to see a different guest or new guests, again, the more interactive you are with us, the more we can give. We just need an outlet, a direction sometimes that people want to see, right? Everyone's got their own perspectives, and we love to hear yours. So thank you, and this is Gage with Muscle Car Concepts. Take care.